Basic terminology of Nichiren Shoshu, Video 7. Mystic single law that possesses a simultaneity of cause and effect. This indicates Myoho Renge Kyo, to which the true Buddha was awakened in the infinite past of Kuon Ganjo. In the Gosho, quote, on the meaning of the true entity of Myoho Renge Kyo, unquote, Nichiren Daishonin indicates that in the infinite past of Kuon Ganjo, the sage, the true Buddha, at the stage of first hearing the name of the law, named the law Myoho Renge Kyo. The Daishonin also indicates that since this law perfectly contains all laws of Ichinen and Sanzen, 3,000 realms in a single life moment, when one practices this true teaching, one is able to receive the cause of enlightenment and the effect of becoming a Buddha simultaneously. One chapter and two halves. This is one of the important ways of categorizing the Lotus Sutra. The entire lifespan Juryo, 16th chapter, the latter half of the Emerging from the Earth, Jujutsu, 15th chapter, and the first half of the Distinction of Benefits, Fumbetsu Kudoko, 17th chapter of the Essential Teaching of the Lotus Sutra, contain the core doctrine, Revelation division, of the Lotus Sutra and Shakyamuni's Buddhism. They are termed, quote, one chapter and two halves, unquote. In these chapters, the Buddha's true identity of his attainment of enlightenment in the inconceivably remote past was revealed. This had been concealed in the pre-Lotus Sutra teachings and the theoretical teaching of the Lotus Sutra. This is called opening the recent to reveal the remote. The latter half of the Emerging from the Earth chapter is called, quote, concisely opening the recent to reveal the remote, unquote. Here, the Buddha's true identity was partially revealed. According to the principle of, quote, concisely opening the recent to reveal the remote, unquote, the latter half of the 15th chapter describes shaking attachment and provoking doubt upon the emergence of the bodhisattvas of the earth. This was a trigger for Shakyamuni to elucidate the lifespan chapter. The entire lifespan chapter is referred to as, quote, extensively opening the recent to reveal the remote, unquote. Here, the precise true identity of the Buddha who attained enlightenment 500 myriad dust particle kalpas ago was revealed. The one chapter and two halves that begin with the passage in the Emerging from the Earth chapter, quote, I briefly reveal the enlightened life of the Buddha from the remote past, unquote, is categorized as the revelation division of the three divisions of the Buddhism of the harvest of the essential teaching. This is the doctrine for the enlightenment of the people who lived during Shakyamuni's lifetime. In contrast, the one chapter and two halves that begin with the passage in the Emerging from the Earth chapter, quote, I seek to awaken the minds of those who embrace inferior teachings so that they may come to doubt them, unquote, is categorized as the revelation division of the three divisions of the Buddhism of the sowing, hidden in the depths of the sutras. This passage manifests the principle of shaking attachment and provoking doubt. This is the doctrine taught for the people of the latter day of the law after Shakyamuni's passing. It is called extensively opening the recent to reveal the remote. In the Gosho, quote, on the true cause, unquote, the Daishonin uses the term, quote, the lifespan chapter of my inner realization, unquote. Here, he is referring to the one chapter and two halves of the three divisions of the Buddhism of the sowing hidden in the depths of the sutra. The Daishonin further states that this, quote, lifespan chapter of my inner realization, unquote, is the one chapter and two halves of the entity of the law to be propagated in the latter day of the law. He further reveals that Myoho Renge Kyo of the Buddhism of the sowing is the seed of the true cause. Oneness of body and mind, Shikishin Funi. This term indicates that physical and spiritual elements are inseparable and fused into one entity. This is also referred to as oneness of the material and spiritual. Oneness of life and its environment, Eshofuni. This signifies that life, a sentient being, and its environment, the external insentient world where the sentient being lives, are not two, but one contained in a single life moment. Both life and its environment are the resultant manifestation of karmic causes accumulated from past existences. This is the sixth of the 10 kinds of oneness expounded by Miyalo in his annotations on the profound meaning of the Lotus Sutra. Among the 3 realms of existence, which are components of Ichinen Sanzen, 3,000 realms in a single life moment, the realm of the 5 components and the realm of living beings refer to life, while the realm of the environment refers to the external world. Nichiren Daishonin states in, quote, the true entity of all phenomena, Shohojiso Sho, the true entity of life and its environment, from the lowest world of hell to the highest world of Buddhahood, within the 10 worlds, is the manifestation of Myoho Renge Kyo, Gosho, page 664. Oneness of the person and the law, Nimpo Ika. This term indicates that the object of worship in terms of the person and the object of worship in terms of the law are one and inseparable. The person is the Buddha who has attained enlightenment, while the law is the ultimate truth of the entire universe to which the Buddha is awakened. In the Buddhism of the harvest, as taught in the Nirvana Sutra, quote, the master of all Buddhas is the law, unquote. The law is superior to the person because the Buddha who is preaching the law assumes a provisional identity with a magnificently adorned and sublime appearance in order to lead the people to enlightenment. Therefore, in the case of Shakyamuni Buddha, who had attained enlightenment at the time of 500 myriad dust particle kalpas ago, the law is superior to the person. This is because Shakyamuni Buddha manifested the property of perfect wisdom, which had gradually evolved from the property of compassionate action. On the other hand, in the Buddhism of the Soin, the Buddha who attained enlightenment at the stage of first hearing the name of the law in the infinite past of Kuan-Ganjo is the entity of the fusion of objective reality, namely Myoho Renge Kyo, and his subjective wisdom. Thus, the law does not exist apart from the person, nor does the person exist apart from the law. The Daishonin revealed the original enlightenment of the true Buddha in the Gosho, quote, the teaching affirmed by all Buddhas of the 3 existences, unquote. Prior to the time of 500 myriad dust particle kalpas ago, when Shakyamuni Buddha was a common mortal, he realized that his body was composed of the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, wind, and space, and he instantly attained enlightenment. Gosho, page 1419. The following is a summary of the interpretation of this passage by the 26th High Priest, Nichiren Shonin. Quote, Shakyamuni Buddha, unquote, refers to Nichiren Daishonin, who corresponds to the Buddha at the first stage of hearing the name of the law. Quote, prior to the time of 500 myriad dust particle kalpas ago, unquote, is the infinite past of Kuan-Ganjo. Quote, his body was composed of the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, wind, and space, unquote, indicates the physical form of the true Buddha and the objective reality to which the true Buddha has awakened. Quote, he realized that, unquote, represents the mind and the wisdom of the true Buddha. In other words, the objective reality to which the true Buddha awakened and the wisdom of the true Buddha correspond to the objective reality and subjective wisdom within the life of the true Buddha. His, quote, instant attainment of enlightenment, unquote, through the fusion of the two is Nam-myoho Renge Kyo of actual Ichinen Sanzen, namely the manifestation of both the person and the law. exegesis explaining on the meaning of the true entity of Myoho Renge Kyo. The Daishonin states, in quote, reply to Kyo-o, unquote, I, Nichiren, with Sumi, have infused my life into the Gohonzon, so believe in it. Gosho, page 685. The Daishonin embodied his inner realization, the enlightenment that he instantly attained in the form of the great mandala, the Daigo-honzon, which is the manifestation of both the person and the law. Opening of the eyes, Kaimokusho. This is one of the 5 major writings of Nichiren Daishonin. It was written at the Tsukahara Sanmaido Sado Island in the 2nd month of the 9th year of Bunei 1272, when the Daishonin was 51 years of age. The Daishonin made his advent as the votary of the Lotus Sutra and revealed in the, quote, opening of the eyes, unquote, that he was the true Buddha of the latter day of the law. The Gosho describes the object of worship in terms of the person. Opening the provisional to reveal the truth. This is the term that Tiantai used to explain the supremacy of the Lotus Sutra. This term refers to Shakyamuni Buddha's revelation that the Lotus Sutra is the true teaching and all other teachings prior to the Lotus Sutra are provisional. Quote, opening the provisional, unquote, is a metaphor that signifies opening the gate of the provisional teachings. Quote, reveal the truth, unquote, indicates revealing the true teaching that exists deep inside the gate. Opening the recent to reveal the remote. In the pre-Lotus Sutra teachings and the theoretical teaching of the Lotus Sutra, Shakyamuni Buddha taught he first attained enlightenment in India under the Bodhi tree. This was an expedient means. The truth is that he attained Buddhahood in the inconceivably remote past of 500 myriad dust particle kalpas ago. In the Emerging from the Earth Juji Yujitsu 15th chapter of the Lotus Sutra, Shakyamuni calls forth the bodhisattvas of the earth to show his transient identity. And in the Lifespan Juryo 16th chapter of the Lotus Sutra, he revealed his identity as the Buddha who attained Buddhahood in the inconceivably remote past of 500 myriad dust particle kalpas ago. Orally transmitted teachings on the Lotus Sutra. This is a record of the lectures on the profound meaning of the Lotus Sutra given by Nichiren Daishonin to his disciples at Mount Minobu. The lectures were recorded by Nikko Shonin and approved by the Daishonin. They have been transmitted for posterity. They are also called the, quote, orally transmitted teachings, unquote, Agnikuden. Origin of the Buddha's enlightenment in the infinite past, Kuan-ganjo. Kuan-ganjo is the time when the true Buddha attained enlightenment for the first time. In quote, the teaching affirmed by all Buddhas of the 3 existences, the Daishonin expounds the attainment of Buddhahood by the Buddha of Kuan-ganjo. Prior to the time of 500 myriad dust particle kalpas ago, when Shakyamuni Buddha was a common mortal, he realized that his body was composed of the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, wind, and space, and he instantly attained enlightenment. Gosho, page 1419. Original seed. This is the original cause or seed for attaining Buddhahood. The Lotus Sutra describes the seed sown into the people's lives in the ages of 3,000 dust particle kalpas ago and 500 myriad dust particle kalpas ago. The great teacher Miyalo clarified that the true cause for the people attaining Buddhahood through the Shakyamuni's Buddhism goes back to the seed of Buddhahood sown into their lives in the inconceivably remote past. This is called the original seed because it serves as the fundamental cause for enlightenment. This seed is the entity of the law, or Myoho Renge Kyo, which is sown for the first time by the true Buddha of the infinite past of Kuan-ganjo. The original seed in the latter day of the law is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, expounded by Nichiren Daishonin, the true Buddha. Original, unchanging. and eternal nature. This term indicates one of the characteristics possessed by the Buddha of the infinite past of Kuan-Ganjo. The true Buddha and Myoho Renge Kyo, which the true Buddha was awakened to, are inseparable and one single entity, which is uncreated and eternal in nature. Perpetuation of the law. This term indicates that the great law will continue throughout eternity, as stated in the Treasure Tower, 11th chapter of the Lotus Sutra. In the quote, opening of the eyes, unquote, Kaimoku Sho Nichiren Daishonin taught that Taho and all other Buddhas appeared in order to perpetuate the law. Poison drum relationship. This indicates the attainment of enlightenment through a reverse relationship, despite slander of true Buddhism. The poison drum is a drum smeared with poison. This is a metaphor expounded in the Nirvana Sutra. It is said that when a drum smeared with poison is beaten, all those who hear the sound of the drum will instantly die, whether they wish to hear it or not. The Daishonin states the following in the Gosho quote, on attaining enlightenment at the initial stage of faith through the Lotus Sutra, unquote. Thus, we should strongly teach and make them listen to the teachings of the Lotus Sutra. Those who follow and take faith in it will be able to attain enlightenment, and even those who slander it will likewise attain Buddhahood in the end through their reverse relationship with it. In any case, there is no other sutra than the Lotus Sutra that enables us to attain Buddhahood. Gosho, page 1316. This passage means that despite Shakabuku attempts, people who have formed a reverse relationship with true Buddhism will fall into the evil paths once. However, they will again encounter the mystic law by virtue of the merit they have gained through their relationship with the Buddhism of the sowing, and will eventually be saved. Poison drum here denotes the Buddha's compassion, which can save even people who have a reverse relationship.